Welcome, fellow travel addicts. Europe is an absolutely stunning destination that boasts an incredibly rich cultural heritage. However, amidst all the mesmerizing beauty, tourists like yourself have to stay alert to some hidden threats. We want you to have the best experience possible, so here are a couple of things you should be aware of. One important thing to be cautious about is the taxi scam. Naturally, when we reach the airport, our top priority is to find a reliable taxi to take us to our hotel or wherever we've booked to stay during our trip to that country or place. Let's say you find yourself in Rome and decide to grab a taxi at the airport. The driver greets you, but to your surprise doesn't use a meter. Instead, they propose a fixed fare that seems a bit high. As you proceed with the journey, you start realizing that the driver took a longer route than necessary. And when you finally reach your hotel, the fare turns out to be double what you initially expected. It would totally ruin your trip, right? And guess what? These taxi scams won't just occur on your first day, they can happen any other day too. Imagine hopping into a cab to move around and suddenly getting ripped off. That's why it's super important to stay on high alert for these sneaky taxi scams. Some drivers might tamper with their meters, overcharge you, or even take you on unnecessarily long routes. But don't worry, we've got your back. By staying vigilant, you can easily avoid falling prey to these scams. Here are some helpful tips for taking taxis. Tip number 1, choose metered taxis. Always go for taxis that use meters as they are more reliable and ensure a fair fare. Tip number 2, do your fare homework. Before you start your journey, take a moment to research the average taxi fares in the city you're visiting. This will help you have an idea of what a reasonable price should be. Tip number 3, negotiate when required. If a driver suggests a fixed rate instead of using the meter, feel free to negotiate a fair price before you get into the taxi. Tip number 4, opt for official taxi apps or services. Whenever available, it's best to use official taxi apps or services to book your rides. This adds an extra layer of security and ensures a professional experience. Tip number 5, keep track of the details. To stay prepared in case of any issues, make a note of the taxi's license plate number. This will assist you in identifying the vehicle later if needed. Next to be aware of is the classic pickpocketing scam. This is the most common scam in Europe, especially in busy places like tourist attractions and public transportation. Skilled thieves often team up or in pairs and create distractions to steal your belongings. Imagine this scenario. You're on a bustling metro train in Paris, surrounded by fellow travelers. As the doors open, a group suddenly rushes in, causing a commotion and accidentally bumping into your backpack. Little did you know that when you finally reach your destination and step off the train, you realize that your wallet is nowhere to be found. We all desire a memorable and enjoyable journey when we travel, but encounters like this are certainly not what we had in mind. Before we equip you with helpful tips to prevent pickpocketing scams, let's first talk about a related type of scam known as distraction scams. When it comes to distraction scams, picture yourself strolling down a bustling street in Prague, minding your own business when someone accidentally spills their drink on you. While you're busy trying to clean up the mess, their partner in crime swiftly snatches your phone or wallet and disappears into the crowd. Sneaky, right? These crafty thieves may employ various tricks to divert your attention, such as spilling a drink, dropping an item, or even pretending to have a fake argument, all just to steal your belongings. As you can see, it's a close relative to pickpocketing, as they employ similar tactics and share the same goals. Here are some tips to help you stay safe from this type of scam. Tip number 1, wear your backpack or purse in front of you, ensuring that all zippers and compartments are securely fastened. Tip number 2, avoid carrying a large sum of cash or valuable items with you. Tip number 3, stay extra alert when you find yourself in busy areas or using public transportation. It's also best to avoid walking alone in dark or deserted places, especially at night. Tip number 4, stay focused and don't let anyone distract you. If someone comes up to you, be cautious and keep an eye on your belongings. Or if someone unexpectedly bumps into you or tries to distract you, quickly check your belongings to make sure everything is still there. Tip number 5, listen to your intuition. If something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Trust your instincts and move away to a safe location. Pay attention to what's happening around you and rely on your gut feelings. Tip number 6, make duplicates of important documents. Keep copies of your passport, Idaho, and travel insurance in a separate location from the originals. Moving on to our next scam, be cautious about exchange rate scams. Exchange rate scams are a common concern for travelers in Europe. Don't fall for flashy booths that promise fast service, but hide unfair rates. Instead, venture beyond the tourist zone and opt for trustworthy banks or cambio services. Before your trip, compare rates online, and don't hesitate to explore different options. And always keep an eye out for sneaky fees that can raise the overall cost of currency exchange. Some services may add hidden charges like transaction fees or service charges. There's also another scam that some exchange houses pull off, especially those claiming zero commission. They trick you by offering zero commission, but in reality, they give you a terrible exchange rate. So, before you go to exchange your money, make sure you do your homework and compare different exchange places to find the one offering the best exchange rate. Then there's DCC trap. Avoid falling for the deceptive dynamic currency conversion, DCC trap, when using ATMs and card terminals. They may offer to convert your transaction to your home currency for a convenience fee, but don't be fooled. The exchange rate they provide is often much worse than what your bank would offer. Always decline DCC and opt for being charged in the local currency. And also, beware of skimming devices lurking around ATMs. These sneaky gadgets can steal your card information without you even realizing it. To stay safe, stick to well-lit and secure ATMs. Take a moment to carefully inspect the machine before using it, and remember to cover your PIN when entering it. Stay alert to your surroundings and promptly report anything suspicious. And now let's talk about the next scam that you should be aware of, the petition scams. Scammers who run petitions often pretend to support important causes like animal welfare, deaf rights, or environmental protection. Their main objective is not only to gather signatures, but also to solicit donations. However, the reality behind their actions is often deceptive. In Europe, here's how these scammers operate. First, scammers target innocent tourists, just like you. Typically, they work in pairs. One person will approach you with a clipboard and a petition, pretending to be friendly. They engage in polite conversation to distract you and appeal to your empathy. They emphasize the urgency and emotional impact of the cause. In some cases, these scammers might act deaf or mute, making themselves seem innocent and vulnerable. This tactic aims to create a false sense of trust. Another tactic they use is to secure your signature. They hope to quickly present the petition and rely on you not reading it carefully before signing. Another scam that you might encounter anywhere in Europe is fake tickets. Scammers might attempt to deceive you by selling counterfeit tickets to exciting attractions or events. This can occur if you haven't obtained your tickets from authorized sources. Imagine wanting to attend a concert desperately, and suddenly a friendly stranger approaches you outside or near the venue. He claims to have tickets available at a discounted price due to an urgent situation or being last minute. You decide to purchase the tickets, but as you try to enter the venue, you discover they're fake. To stay safe, always purchase tickets from authorized sources. Avoid street vendors or touts who might trick you. When purchasing, ensure the tickets possess security features like holograms, watermarks, or other indicators to guarantee their authenticity. Stay cautious of deals that seem too good to be true. If the price appears significantly lower than expected, it's likely a scam. And finally, let's not forget the restaurant scam. Oh yes, you can be scammed even if you just want to treat your taste buds. Beware of the European restaurant scam. It's like a clever performance of harmless tricks that will make you question whether you just had an extravagant meal with a VIP. Imagine this: you're strolling through a delightful European town, feeling the need to refuel your energy after a day of exploring. Suddenly, a friendly waiter with limited English skills invited you into a charming restaurant, promising local delicacies and an authentic atmosphere. Seduced by the cozy decor and the tantalizing smell of garlic and herbs, you eagerly take a seat. Little do you know, the real drama is about to unfold. At first glance, the menu seems reasonable, but don't be fooled. The bread you never ordered magically appears, and water charges mysteriously multiply. To make matters worse, they sneak in a cover charge known as coperto onto your bill. But that's not all. Brace yourself for the upsell. Remember that freshly caught seafood you asked about? Well, it unexpectedly transforms into a lobster bigger than your head. And the house special wine somehow ends up costing more than your plane ticket. The final moment arrives. Cue the bill, standing tall as a symbol of your not-so-lucky dining experience. Despite feeling the urge to voice your concerns, the language barrier and the disapproving glances from the staff make you surrender your fight. Reluctantly, you settle your payment, promising yourself never to place blind faith in a waiter wearing a beret ever again. It's important to stay vigilant and protect yourself from these deceptive tactics. So, if you find yourself in this situation, be cautious, and here are some helpful tips to ensure a smooth dining experience. Tip number 1, do your research. Before heading to a restaurant, it's always helpful to read online reviews and check out menus in advance. Look for places that have good ratings and provide transparent pricing. Tip number 2, ask about coperto and charges. To avoid any surprises, it's best not to assume that bread and water are free. Take a moment to ask the staff about potential hidden fees before placing your order. Tip number 3, be wary of upselling. Don't feel pressured into ordering the most expensive dish on the menu. Stick to your budget and feel free to inquire about prices before making any decisions. Tip number 4, check your bill. It's always a good idea to carefully review your bill before making a payment. Take a closer look at each item, and if anything seems incorrect, politely point it out to the staff. Tip number 5, pay with a credit card. Opting to pay with a credit card offers you some protection against fraudulent charges. Plus, if any issues arise, it becomes easier to dispute them. Remember, by following these simple tips, you can enjoy your meal without any unnecessary drama. And that concludes our Europe travel tips and scam awareness, travel addicts. Europe is an extraordinary destination. With a little knowledge about these scams, you can wander around with complete confidence and peace of mind. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and share this video. We'd love to have you as a subscriber on our channel, so go ahead and smash that subscribe and ring the bell icon. Expect more exciting travel tips and safety guides. Have an amazing time exploring. And as always, stay safe.